The billionaire's elderly Sicilian father had refused to speak to anyone since arriving in America. Every employee at the luxury restaurant had tried greeting him in English. He ignored every one of them. Even professional interpreters failed to earn so much as a smile. Then, as a shy young waitress gently placed fresh bread on the table, she quietly greeted him in an old Sicilian dialect that had nearly disappeared from everyday conversation. The old man's hands froze in midair. His eyes filled with tears. The billionaire slowly looked up in disbelief. Every conversation in the restaurant stopped. The elderly father smiled for the first time in months and answered her in the same beautiful dialect. No one could understand what they were saying, but everyone could see something extraordinary unfolding before their eyes. If you believe kindness, respect, and second chances can change lives, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that remind us what truly matters. 52-year-old billionaire Vincent Morelli had built one of Europe's largest luxury hotel groups. Although respected around the world, he considered his greatest responsibility caring for his 80-year-old father, Antonio. Antonio had spent nearly his entire life in a small Sicilian mountain village before moving closer to Vincent after his wife's passing. The move was difficult. Antonio spoke very little English. Even standard Italian felt unfamiliar because he had spent decades speaking the local Sicilian dialect used in his hometown. Far from home, surrounded by unfamiliar voices, he slowly became quiet and withdrawn. Doctors explained that grief, isolation, and the loss of familiar language often leave older adults feeling disconnected from the world around them. Determined to lift his father's spirits, Vincent invited him to lunch at one of the city's finest restaurants. He hoped a peaceful afternoon together might help. Working that sunny afternoon was 26-year-old waitress Elena Brooks. Soft-spoken and almost invisible to most guests, Elena rarely talked about her family. Her late grandmother had emigrated from a small village in Sicily many decades earlier. As a child, Elena spent countless afternoons listening to old stories, recipes, songs, and greetings spoken in the same regional dialect her grandmother feared would disappear forever. While serving warm bread, Elena overheard Antonio quietly thanking himself in words she had not heard since childhood. She smiled gently. Without drawing attention, she greeted him in the same traditional Sicilian dialect her grandmother had lovingly taught her. Antonio looked up instantly. His expression transformed. For the first time since arriving in America, he heard words that sounded exactly like home. He answered with surprise and joy. The two spoke briefly about the weather, family traditions, homemade bread, and the small villages where people still remembered the old expressions. Vincent watched in complete disbelief. His father wasn't simply speaking. He was laughing. His eyes sparkled with the same warmth Vincent remembered from years before. Nearby guests noticed the remarkable change. No one understood the conversation itself, yet everyone recognized the happiness it brought. After lunch, Vincent thanked Elena and asked how she had learned such an uncommon dialect. She explained that her grandmother believed language carried more than words. It carried memories, identity, and love. Before passing away, she made Elena promise never to forget the dialect because one day it might help someone feel less alone. Neither grandmother nor granddaughter imagined that promise would one day comfort a stranger. Over the following weeks, Vincent brought Antonio back to the restaurant every Friday afternoon. Each visit became something Antonio eagerly anticipated. He shared stories from his childhood. He taught Elena forgotten Sicilian sayings. She introduced him to homemade recipes inspired by her grandmother's cooking. Slowly, Antonio became happier. He began joining local community activities, meeting other older immigrants, and rediscovering confidence that grief had nearly taken away. Watching the transformation inspired Vincent. He partnered with cultural organizations, speech specialists, and community centers to create programs where older immigrants could gather, share stories in their native languages and regional dialects, and preserve traditions for younger generations. The initiative spread across several cities. Families reunited with forgotten heritage. Children learned songs their grandparents thought would disappear forever. Antonio became one of the program's most beloved volunteers. He welcomed newcomers with the same gentle smile he had first given Elena. Before this story comes to an end, we'd love to hear from you. Has a family tradition, language, or memory ever made you feel connected to someone you love? Please leave a meaningful comment below because your story may inspire someone else to treasure their own roots. As another warm afternoon sunlight filled the community cultural center years later, Antonio happily taught children old Sicilian expressions while Elena watched proudly from nearby. Vincent realized the greatest gift that afternoon had never been an expensive lunch. It had been hearing his father laugh in the language of his childhood once again. Sometimes the shortest greeting carries the deepest love, reminding us that home is not always a place. Sometimes it is simply hearing familiar words spoken with kindness. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, when we honor someone's language, we often honor their heart as well.